Commencing Alumni men's basketball on the campus of Madison University. As leaders, JMU entertained the Wasps of Louisiana.
Oh my God.
And tonight's showdown, game number two today.
Alrighty, everybody. Thanks so much, everybody, for coming. I'm going to pass it to our president, John Mitchell, so we can get started. John, you're muted.
That's exactly what I was telling everyone to do. Welcome, everybody. At this time, we ask that as you join us, that you would please mute your Zoom link so that we will not have any ambient noise as we go through. We want to welcome everybody to a fantastic journey, which will be your BAC Black Alumni Committee experience. We are the largest and the strongest affinity chapter at James Madison University. And we're on the cutting edge right now, fostering relationships within our community and within the university and with other alumni associations across the country. This meeting is meant to help you understand our commitment, our vision, and how you can partner with us and the university to enrich the experience of the Alumni Association as well as our current students. We are growing, we are looking to empower our people, to grow our endowment, and to have active engagement. This will be the hallmark and the legacy of the current administration. We will have a brief survey to allow you to participate, to have us help understand what type of activities you would like us to do, as well as help us to understand where our current alumni are located and how we can better serve you. We're going to go over the Black Alumni Association mission and vision, the history, and the 2024 vision. We're going to be talking about the fundraising and endowment. We're going to have the Black Alumni merchandise. We have an online store which you can purchase items from. We're going to be talking about the JMU ODU collaboration, which is just the first. We're actually looking to do this throughout the Sun Belt Conference, but many of the Black Alumni Associations across the country, we now have a collaborative organization by which we're meeting to talk about how we can partner and empower ourselves. We'll be talking about the committees that you can join, our regional ambassador program, the possibility of this year having a Black Alumni Weekend, reviving the Black Alumni Weekend experience. And then we're going to have the JMU Alumni Office as well as DEI do a current then student demographic presentation. For sake of time, we will not be doing a Q&A session. And after that, we will have a closing.
Just some brief housekeeping rules before we get started. Please mute yourself. If you have any questions, please use the chat. You also can use the raise your hand function if you need to. This meeting is being recorded, so should you need to come back to it, we will make it available. And thank you all for being here. Give me one moment. I'm going to launch the poll in 1 second. You should see the poll on your screen.
I just saw the question. Someone said no DMV. Virginia is considered to be in the South. So if you're in the state of Virginia, just click South.
Or if you're below the Mason-Dixon line.
Yes. So also if you're in Maryland, you'll be clicking the South.
Give everybody 1 more minute to get your answers in. 2 more minutes. I know you have to type something. All right, everybody. It's looking like that time. Thanks, everybody, for your response. If not, we still want to hear from you. There will be an opportunity to fill out our member survey later.
Thank you so much for participating in the survey. Good. For those of you who aren't aware, the Black Alumni Association has a rich history and legacy. Our mission is to engage the alumni and cultivate involvement and investment in James Madison University. Our vision is to be the leading connector and primary resources for alumni engagement to the university, responsible for engaging a diverse alumni community that directly supports the university. We're going to do this through strategic priorities of engaging our alumni, investing in our students, strengthening our university, and partnering for success. Again, we are the strongest and largest affinity chapter of James Madison University and the only official alumni chapter for the African American community. Our vision for this administration is engagement, empowerment, and endowment. We're seeking to engage our alumni members in our association through active participation in fundraising. We're seeking to do empowerment events, as you will see listed as we go through our slides. And then we are going to be focusing on growing our endowment. We're going to put our money where our mouth is. We have a goal, which we will be talking about later on at smaller venues across the country, but it is a substantial goal. It is said that if your dreams don't scare you, your dreams are too small. We're dreaming big at James Madison University. We want to have one of the largest endowments of any Black Alumni Association so that we can continue the rich history and legacy of the African American experience at James Madison. James Madison's Black Alumni Chapter History. And we have living history here because we have Deborah Johnson, one of the founding members of the association, on the call today. 1990 became the first affinity chapter established on the campus of James Madison. The purpose of the James Madison University Black Alumni Chapter is to support the university in its efforts to recruit, retain, and ensure the successful matriculation of African American students, to foster and maintain a positive relationship between African American students and alumni, to support James Madison University's Alumni Association and all of its efforts, to promote long-lasting positive relationships between alumni and the university. There are over 5,000 Black alumni, and the majority of us live in the DMV, Richmond, and Tidewater regions, and we also scattered throughout the United States, as we have people on this call who are out in Phoenix, Arizona. An endowed scholarship established by the Black Alumni Chapter. So the Black Alumni Chapter Endowment and Scholarship was established by the Black Alumni Chapter in the university and supported by charitable gifts from members and friends, provided the financial resource to establish and support the endowed scholarships of students entering their first year of study at James Madison University. The Black Alumni Chapter's specific intention by this fund is to help the underrepresented students entering the university as first-year students, further to influence student respective decisions to enroll in the university. So far, our lifetime giving has been over $250,000, and we have given over 80 scholarships to students over the past few years. We now have a presentation by those who will be doing the Black Alumni Chapter Endowment Initiative. Again, we are not disclosing what our goal is at this point, but more to introduce you to the people who will be helping to facilitate the endowment initiative.
Thank you, John. Good evening, JMU family. Good evening. So good to see so many of you join us this evening. I am Kevin Battle, a JMU graduate in 1984. I am joined in this presentation by my lovely wife, Dawn Allen Battle, 1986, as well as Deborah Tompkins Johnson, 1978. And so we're very delighted to make an announcement tonight to our alumni group. And first and foremost, in this presentation, you'll see that there is a consistent theme: engagement, empowerment, and endowment. And we believe that what we're going to announce is going to address many of these issues addressed earlier. And the purpose really of this endowment initiative is to maintain our presence and grow our presence in the wonderful JMU community. I'm going to turn it over to my lovely wife, Dawn Allen Battle, 1986 graduate of JMU.
Hi, everybody. Good evening. And thank you for giving us a few minutes of your time tonight. So the initiative that we've been working on complements the original existing BAC Scholarship. It will offer not only recruitment scholarships, but renewable scholarships, and also aid in student retention. So the renewable part is something new. We anticipate the launch of a capital raise campaign in the near future. And this particular initiative will enhance and increase engagement opportunities for the alumni. And then finally, one of the most important parts is that we are partnering with the JMU Office of Advancement and Alumni Affairs. And that is a significant difference than what we've done in the past. So we want you to stay tuned for more information and know that what you see tonight is the catalyst for what made us want to engage on this particular topic. So thank you. I'll turn it back over to John and Janie.
Again, we want to thank Don, Kevin, and Deborah for the hard work that they have done. And again, we want to make sure everybody understands that we are moving forward, that we are moving beyond just having an initial scholarship for the first year, that we are looking to engage in a capital campaign that will allow this to be a renewable scholarship for every year these students are on campus at James Madison University. So we want to thank them for their service, thank them for their vision, and thank those of you who will be partnering with us to bring this vision to reality. Upcoming Black Alumni Chapter events in 2024. Again, we are looking to have engagement and we're looking for empowerment. We're looking to engage not only with the JMU alumni, but with other alumni associations. So we are starting a campaign by which during athletic events, we will be challenging other Black alumni chapters, both in coming and attending the competitions, such as the basketball games and even football games. But we are challenging each chapter to raise money during those games. So we have the Royal Rumble, which is coming up, where JMU will be going against ODU. The ODU, Old Dominion University Alumni Chapter, will be coming to the JMU men's basketball game on February 3rd, 2024. We're asking for our alumni members to please come out to that game as well, but also to donate. And once we finish calculating who has the winning donations, the president of each alumni chapter must put on the other team's clothes and jersey to show who actually won the game and won the engagement in fundraising for the alumni chapter. If you cannot make it, there will be a watch party at the Dirty Buffalo at South Independence Boulevard in Virginia Beach for the men's game. We will also be doing this for the women's basketball game on March 1st, and the watch party will be at Spider Kelly's on Wilson Boulevard in Arlington. The men's game will be at JMU. The women's game will be at Old Dominion University. So please come out to the games, come out to the watch parties, and please contribute to this of the first challenges that we will be doing with the other alumni associations.
And we did want to note, in addition to donating, the student athletes are entrepreneurial these days, which is awesome. They have NIL deals, and our athletes will be selling their merchandise. So we highly encourage you to buy their t-shirts, buy their sweatshirts. It's also JMU gear, so it works in both ways as they continue on those endeavors, and wear them to the games, wear them to the watch parties.
We need volunteers. We're working on homecoming, anniversaries, and a Black Alumni Weekend. We're interested in finding people who would like to host educational opportunities as part of our engagement and endowment, engagement and empowerment. We're looking to host events on financial literacy. We're looking to host events on home ownership. We're looking to host events on mental health and mental illness. We're looking to host events on home ownership. We have a broad, diverse alumni base who's very successful. We need you. Please email us, please contact us. If you can host one of those events for us, if you can be the speaker for one of those events, or if you're interested in helping us design and implement other events that will help empower the Black Alumni Association. Upcoming events, we've gone over the men's basketball game and the watch parties. Giving Day will be coming. We'll be having the Black family reunion again on Giving Day. We have successfully on 2 occasions given the most money of the alumni chapters on Giving Day. We're looking to get back. We're looking to get back to our perch as #1 as far as being the #1 chapter for Giving Day. We're going to be talking about our ambassadors program as well as roundups throughout the country that we will be doing. Please get involved with the Black Alumni Chapter. Again, we have open positions for committees and executive leadership positions. We have mentorship opportunities. We have a mentorship program on campus, and we need Black alumni members to help get involved with the current students through the mentorship program. We need you to get in contact with the local alumni. Please join your local Black alumni for a professional mixer, one of our roundups, or one of our virtual events that we will be having. And donations. Again, the Black Alumni Scholarship, the annual scholarship program where you can make a donation on Giving Day or any other time of the year. Please donate to our foundation. Some of the positions that we have currently open are for treasurer, secretary, and event chairs for the various committees. As you see, we also have a multimedia team, a mentorship program, Black Alumni Weekend, fundraising, homecoming, and the endowment committees. Your Black Alumni Association needs you. If you see where you can fit in, please join us and put your hands to the plow as we move our chapter forward. The BAC
Hi.
Regional Ambassador Program, we have a leader for that. Our leader is Frances Jackson, who graduated in 1987. I will turn it over to her.
Thanks, John. As John just said, I'm here to report out on a process that we are looking to develop. And this is yet another way for you to get involved. We're looking to establish a program that will resemble and work very closely with the existing JMU regional ambassadors, but ours will meet the specific needs of BAC. We're looking to have representatives in local areas. As John mentioned, we've got a lot of individuals that live in the Northern Virginia, Richmond, Tidewater area, but we also have a wide variety of individuals that live throughout the country. So we want to establish a way for individuals to feel connected in a way, and they can act as a liaison to the BAC to enhance communications, leverage any marketing efforts to promote JMU events, support the philanthropic initiatives, support and excuse me, I'm so sorry, supply content for BAC's social media platforms. And we'll also, you'll get a chance to hear a little bit about the admission recruitment volunteer program. So I didn't add that bullet here, but I think that's another way for the regional ambassadors to be engaged. The BAC Ambassador Program, it's aimed at fostering a stronger sense of community wherever you are. So we're going to do that through engagement, empowerment, and endowment. So if you're interested in being a part of the development or to participate as a regional ambassador, please contact me. You have my email address here, francisjmualum@gmail.com. Thanks, John.
Thank you, Frances. Thank you for putting your hands to the plow, and thank you for helping to foster an environment and an association that will be helping our JMU people on a regional level get in contact.
My pleasure.
Before we move on, are there any questions? We'll take your silence as a no.
Okay. Here's our Black Alumni Association online store. Please make a purchase. As you see, we have a variety of sweatshirts, t-shirts, logos. These are items that as you purchase, they promote the BAC, they market the BAC, but also the money goes into an operational account, which allows the BAC to further have activities and to increase our ability to function. Please look at these t-shirts. Please wear them when you come back to campus, come back for homecoming and various activities.
It looks like we're getting a question about who's modeling our merch. He's an old Black alumni. We need some of you guys to model it so that we can have pictures of you guys. Sorry, we're having technical difficulties. Give me a moment, please.
Okay. So we can go to the next slide. You should see a picture of your JMU Alumni Association leadership. Okay. So our JMU Alumni Association leadership is comprised of myself, John Mitchell. I'm the president. John A. Oliver, who is working the screen right now. She is the vice president in our communications. If you have seen, we have a wonderful online presence right now through our Instagram, social media, Facebook page. There's the official Black Alumni page, but we have an unofficial Facebook called the James Madison Black Alumni Group, where you are allowed to post pictures individually and communicate as well. John A. is a 2016 graduate of James Madison University. You heard from Francis Jackson, a 1987 graduate, who was our regional ambassador. We have Simeon Deskins. He is a 1990 graduate who is over scholarship and engagement. We have Markia Jones. She's a 2014 graduate, and she is over the mentorship initiative. Avanko Clark, and she is a media and engagement working with Jeanne. And Michael Humphreys, 1990, who's over the scholarship committee. So there are our Black alumni scholars leaders. That is your Black alumni leadership. At this time, we will be moving and handing the program over to our representatives from the university, our JMU staff, our very own Monette Martin, who's the Senior Associate Dean of Admissions and Undergraduate Admissions. And you see Monette is a double Duke, 93 and 96. Paula Puglas, a double Duke as well, 92 and 96. The Director of Alumni Relations and the Executive Director of our Alumni Association. We also being joined by Dr. Malika Carter-Hoyt, the Vice President of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion, who is the Chief Diversity Officer for James Madison University, and Connie Kane Campbell, the Executive Director and the Director for the Women of Madison. She is also a double Duke. And Art Dean, a 1992 graduate, if I remember correct, Art? And he is the Associate Vice President for Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion at James Madison University. They will be going over the demographic and informatic information of the initiatives that the university is using to help increase and sustain and maintain the alumni experience, as well as diversify the university.
Hi, everyone. My name is Paula Polglace, and I am your brand new Director of Alumni Relations and the Executive Director of the Alumni Association. I believe we have a couple of our board members on as well, so maybe if you can say hi in the chat for our alumni board members who are on here. I come to you all from a different area of university advancement at the university. My whole career has been at JMU, actually, and I was in alumni relations and have spent the last 8 years in the development office working with our donors on strategic gift initiatives. So when Kevin and Dawn and Deborah were talking, and John, you leading the force on that, talking about giving and donating and increasing scholarships, you are speaking my love language. So thank you. All right, so to kick it off, Janae asked me to speak a little bit about just some kind of quick opportunities for alumni involvement. I would say the big one coming up is Giving Day. That's going to be 2/22/24, so February 22nd, 2024. We have some goals for that day. Just to remind you, Giving Day is 24 hours where we are all in, all focused on increasing the number of donors we can get to JMU. This is a day for finding as many people to give, $25, $50, $100. Of course, if you want to give tens of thousands on that day, we'll let you. But today, that day, Giving Day, is all about the masses. The very best way, and in my personal opinion, the most fun way to spend that day is to sign up to be an ambassador. So a Giving Day ambassador. This is a great program. You're asked to reach out to other people that you know and ask them to give. The system we work in that day provides you with a ton of content. You get graphics, you get your own personal link. So it's when somebody gives, you get to see that they've made a donation. You can text, you can use social media, you can call. It's really fun. Again, peer-to-peer outreach, you all reaching out to the other people just on this call right now would make a huge difference. We have a goal of getting 100 ambassadors. I've already signed up, and I'm really just asking you all, you are some of our top most engaged alumni. And if you can sign up and reach out to other people you know, that's how we get to that 3,000. We've put the link for signing up to be an ambassador in the chat, so you can see that as well and click right over. Our alumni awards are coming up Friday, April 12th. I bring this up for two reasons. One, we would love to have you in attendance. We'll be coming out here shortly in the next week or so with our list of who is receiving those awards. And we love when alums, buy a table at the Alumni Awards and have a real presence at those awards. The other reason I bring up the Alumni Awards is I would love to have you nominate people as the award nominations come out over the summer. Please be on the lookout for that because we love to get as many nominations as we can. I really, oh yeah, Kenny just mentioned we do have past Alumni Award recipients on this very call. We have a free webinar series. That's another way for alumni involvement. We post all those on our social media. We also send out emails about those, but that's a free, something free you have access to just by virtue of being an alum and part of the Alumni Association. We are not a dues-paying alumni association. So I really, encourage you to take advantage of anything that we're able to offer you. Finally, opportunities for alumni involvement. And I loved what was just said about the regional ambassadors. There's so many opportunities to welcome our new graduates. We want to get you all some information so you have access to kind of lists of new graduates, but really reaching out to our young alumni and our new graduates, inviting them in, invite them to be part of the BAC Alumni chapter, invite them to go to a watch party with you that is being hosted by the Metro Dukes or the Charlotte Dukes or the New York City Dukes. I really feel like that's a great way to welcome in new grads. I think I have one more slide. Yep. All right. I would say I would love for you all to get involved. And it's a great engagement opportunity to be part of the Mentor Collective. This is a service that we have purchased, the Alumni Association has purchased, and we have 2 sessions. One, we are completely dedicating to the BAC Alumni chapter and BAC identified student mentees. We have 100 seats, so 100 students can participate as mentees in this Mentor Collective system. It's completely online. And the actual platform, Mentor Collective, is excellent. There's training within there. There's support. If a student is talking to you about something in the academic side of the house, say they're talking to you about a hold they have on their account and you're not sure how to help, You just send a flag in, it flags one of us at the university, and we're able to answer that student. So tons of support if you sign up to be a mentor. Our goal is to have 100 students take up these 100 seats in our semester-long mentor collective. We're going to be working with CMIS, working with some other offices on campus to get that going, but we need mentors. So that's where you come in. And please, it doesn't matter where you are in life. Everybody has some experience and some advice to give, and really just an ear to lend, right? Like, students want to be heard, just like all of us. So please, please sign up to be a mentor. And I'll also put the link for that, the direct link, the QR codes there. I'll put the link in the chat as well. Thanks. Oh, this one is mine too. Can we just go right back to the BAC Scholarship? I know we've talked a lot about this. I just want to make sure. Oh, the only thing I wanted to make sure of is that you all understood that the scholarship is an endowed scholarship. And endowed scholarships, the value in that is that they are awarded forever. So when you are making a donation to the endowment and to the scholarship, that there will always be a Black Alumni Chapter Scholarship at JMU. There are always going to be BAC scholars at JMU. So I think there's so much value in that legacy. And I just want you to know that impact and that importance of this being an endowed scholarship, that the people who set this up did it right. They really took care of you all. And all the students receiving this, because it goes on forever. So the fact that it's at $250,000 already, it's spinning off about $12,000 every year that we can award in scholarships is just amazing. Absolutely incredible. Manette, I'm going to turn it over to you.
All right, thank you, Paula, and good evening, everyone. And I will be sharing with you all some very high level as well as some detailed information about sort of where the university currently stands, as well as sort of historically where we were. And this is going to be what some of the information you will see will be over the span of data-wise the last 10 years, although the university did make a commitment actually 20 years ago. And one of the commitments, as you can see here on the current slide, the Commonwealth, we made a commitment back in 2004 to the Commonwealth to provide access to middle and high school students. And so over the last 20 years, these are some of the things that we have been doing. And the university has poured into these efforts and supported these efforts. We currently have a curated middle school visitation days program that is offered to various districts across the state. We really don't even, I would say, hold back, although we do have 7 formal relationships with middle schools and these high schools. So you'll see in the next bullet, the university in 2004 funded the Professor in Residence program, in which there are 7 middle schools and 7 high schools. And these faculty members, JMU faculty and graduate students, they travel weekly throughout the academic year to provide service and educational awareness opportunities to the students as well as the administrators within those schools. So it's really based off of what their specialty area is in most cases, as well as what these schools identify as being the greatest need for us to be able to service their students. The other thing is, well, while many of you probably know that are on the call, there are several more recent grads here, But over the last 20 years, I myself have been serving in the role of regional outreach recruiter as administrator, and helping to create and increase the pipeline of Black students, their awareness and the applications to JMU from areas in which we identified and have identified where we do get the larger pocket of students coming to JMU. And lastly, one of the signature programs that by far has definitely served us very well for the last 20 years, the institution has funded the Centennial Scholars Program. And I would like to state that, as you see here, this is a program that has been totally funded by the university. We have not received any final or financial assistance from the state budget or limited outside funding to support these this particular program. Over the last 2 years, we've seen a little bit of movement. We've been very fortunate enough to most recently be awarded some funds from the state that will allow us to increase the Centennial Scholars number for the first time in 20 years by 16. So typically about 40 to 50 incoming students are awarded this scholarship. And now we will be able to hopefully get over the 50 hurdle by being able to award additional Centennial Scholars scholarship opportunities. And I would be remiss if I did not also mention that Women for Madison has also come in and has been able to also help secure and additional Centennial Scholars scholarships. You could do the next slide today. Thank you. So what you're going to see next is data that has been pulled from the admissions office. So before I present this, I do want to preference that this is data that has been pulled together for the meeting and specifically will be identifying and speaking to the last 10 years, because due to being able to, well, my supervisor and our team in the admissions office not quite having the access prior to the 10 years, but quite frankly, it's still a mirror image of where we are. So if you don't mind, the next slide, please. So what you will see here, the percentage of students, I do want to preference and highlight when we are looking at multicultural students or students that are applying to JMU on the application, the student has the ability to volunteer their ethnicity. They will either not let us know, so they will check nothing. They will identify as multiracial. They identify as international. They also identify as Black, Indigenous, or people of color. And then we also have the other subgroups. So if you'll notice, in 1989, JMU, and this is when my incoming class, so many of us that were coming in at the helm of Forrest Parker, our beloved Forrest Parker, you know, JMU began, and this is including off-campus enrollment, did start to, at that time, was not really an option. So most students were living on campus. So you see that we were at about 12%. And then we didn't have all these other categories, but this shifted and the categories did have to be broken down probably, I guess, about 10 years ago. And I'll lean on you, Art, because I believe it was about the time you were transitioning and I was coming in. And so you'll see here that these categories, again, are broader than what many of us, when we came in, had the option to choose from. Okay. And next slide, please. So the next slide that you will be able to have a look at here is among our overall student population, the percentage of students who identify as Hispanic or who identify as more than one race has more than doubled since 2011. So if you look specifically, when I was looking at this, you look at fall 2011, we were right about 3.8. Fall 2003, we're at 4.7. And I know I tend to hear this number a lot when alum come to me and they say, well, I don't, why are we at 4.7%? And so you'll see that that's just specifically for the Black or African American categories. If you go forward to and you see the Hispanic, this for me was a very profound number. In 2011, we had 3.3%. That number has doubled as of last year to 7.71%. And then there is the other category that we always do also have to, again, take into consideration, because again, what we're finding is most students, or they're not most, there is a percentage of students that either don't identify, and if they do identify, they are identifying more than one ethnicity, i.e. biracial, and forward and others. So I think that this number these numbers also do speak very much to the tune of some of the challenges that we'll probably discuss, and maybe others will be able to highlight. So this is where the work comes in. All right. If you look at, let's start at 2013. This is specifically for Black applications, students that have identified themselves as Black. So in 2013, we received 1,500 applications. And we accepted, of those applications of Black students, we accepted 556. Okay. And then if you move forward, midway, let's say 2019, we increased applications even more. Then applications from Black, brown students has increased over time. And then the number accepted also increased. Last year was a whirlwind year, so to speak, and you can see where we're trending now as of today. And this probably is not as accurate because this number is accurate, but we won't be closing out the cycle until, it's closed January 15th. So application for regular decision is closed. And so this for 2024, it'll be a little bit higher. We know that for sure. But 3,000, so we've almost doubled the number of applications we received. We've also doubled almost the number of students that we admitted.
Manya, we have a few questions in the chat. I don't want to roll past regarding data. Francis, I see you, but before we get to Francis, there was a question regarding you mentioned 7%, I think, in the previous slide. Do you recall?
That's for Hispanic students.
Okay.
If you'll notice, the 7.7% is Hispanic.
Awesome. And then there's Francis, if you'd like to unmute and ask your question.
Yeah, I just want to be clear when we look at this applications and then accepted, are those the actual students that came to JMU, or they were just accepted?
They were just accepted.
Okay, so do we have the statistics of those accepted? How many actually attended?
That would be the next slide.
Okay, there we go.
Anya, before you advance the slide, Angela had a good question. The 7% is 7% of what? I believe it's of the undergraduate student number.
Correct.
And for 2022, 23, would that have been around 19,500 for undergrad?
That's correct.
Yeah.
Yes, because we're currently at 22,000 undergrad students. Okay, and I think we're ready for the next slide if there aren't any more questions. So this is where we are. Again, I go to 2013. This is the number of students admitted and enrolled. So this now is those students that we admitted, we received applications from, and offered admissions to. 2013, again, we had 546 admitted students, 170 matriculated. Fast forward, again, we are 990 accepted, more apps, more offers made, and 198 matriculated. Last year, we doubled again in the number of applications received, the number of students we admitted, and 199 matriculated. So that being the case, we can clearly see from this data that over the last 10 years, even with the things that we have in place and that the university is doing, and the commitment on behalf of the university to these efforts and the work that's being done, we still, on average, each year are seeing only 200 Black, Brown students matriculate to JMU.
That's amazing.
Hey, Manya,
Yes.
do we do any follow-ups to then understand why then those did not choose to join JMU, what their rationale was? Is it something, whether it was culturally, whether fit, what would that be if you all have any insights?
Yes, we do. And probably about a month out after things sort of settled down and during the summertime, once decisions, we have all of our students that have deposited. We do send out a survey to those students that decided not to come. And we do ask the questions. And I will be quite frank and honest. One of the major reasons is due to financial resources.
Monette, I'm going to jump in. I just literally left the basketball game with Melinda Wood, who is our director of admissions and AVP for admissions. And Paul and I just been talking about this in a meeting today. And it is the number one reason that we just can't cover the need with the resources that JMU has currently to get these students to JMU. So she's right, dead on, that is our biggest challenge with students of color.
And if I could jump in, it's Kevin Battle again. That was one of the rationales that Dawn, Deborah, and others took on the responsibility of formulating a partnership with the university so that we can further the engagement with alumni to help build the endowment, so we give people another reason when they do get accepted to attend JMU.
No,
And I speak to my experience back in the 80s when I attended JMU. The major reason I came to JMU was really twofold. It was Black Freshman Weekend, which was awesome. And it was the fact that at that time, they were issuing nice scholarships, and that really made the decision very easy for me and my family.
Right. I guess part of my question is also then, how big is the gap? Is it that we meet, or the university typically is meeting 40%, 30% of, and really if it was another 10% would make a difference, or another 40% is what other schools are doing? Because I think while yes, in understanding and definitely support the endowment efforts, my question just becomes how much would we really want to think about and or need to cover for more students to say yes? And if it's the financial number, the question is, okay, how big is that gap?
Correct. And I would say to your point that even the neediest of student, so that's a student, and for those of us that have had students in college or gone through that process, the most neediest of student, which what we know now or knew historically as the EFC, which is changing. The calculation of that is now changing. So that's a whole nother layer and probably another town hall discussion, but with the FAFSA changes. But the neediest of students, so let's say a family that comes in with 0 EFC, that child, that student still has to have anywhere between $2,500 to $3,000 that's left that on their bill. And that's per year. And I think it's important to also, and I'm sure there are many of you that have heard this before as well, JMU's tuition over the last 10 years has stayed relatively low and the same. It has not increased. It has not significantly decreased, but it's stayed the same. And as a result of that, that's also why and where we find this missing, or that this 2,500 to 3,000, the gap that we aren't meeting the need of our students. Most universities in and around the state that are having these same discussions and are doing this work, they are meeting the need 100% of their student Black population, incoming students.
We had 2 raised hands. I saw Maya Fife, I think. Was the
Yes.
first.
I am a recent graduate, 2023. I graduated in May. But also I worked for orientation while I was at JMU. And one thing that that I noticed, I guess I would say too, that I think that might help with having more brown and Black students matriculate in is doing more preliminary things before orientation starts, where they can connect with other brown and Black students on campus. Because for me, I'm not even gonna lie, like the thing that got me to go to JMU other than Centennial was doing Dukes for a Day with Student Minority Organization, because that let me know that I had a safe space. However, because of how some orgs are orchestrated, they may not reach certain areas. So we're getting a large population of students who are like from the Richmond area or from Nova that are Black, but like it's not really going past that. So I think as an option, like for the upcoming year, like it probably would be helpful for the Black alumni chapter to try to host like a couple of events where we can get in touch with students who got accepted but haven't deposited to stay, so that we can show them that the success rate in that like they have a support system from alumni and from current students.
We thank you for your comment. That's actually an initiative that we have worked with and talked to Monette and the Office of Admissions on, is that once the students are accepted, holding regional activities. So that will be something that the regional ambassadors will be doing. So if you will please contact that link and email your name so that you can help us in the geographic area that you're located in to recruit these students.
All right, sounds good. Thank you.
Thanks, Maya. And I couldn't agree more. I think most of us came to JMU because we went to freshman weekend or something like that. There was another hand up, Bettina Mason. Was your question answered, or did you still have a question?
I still have a question. Good evening, everyone. I was I set up the first Black mentorship program at James Madison University when I was in graduate school. And so this is my thing, mentorship programming. However, what I would like to see perhaps, because I was a school teacher, an English teacher in high school, is perhaps that we can set up a training program for those guidance counselors, that we would give them a resource and a toolbox to then perhaps teach those or bring. You will be so surprised how many counselors do not know the resources that are out there. FAFSA is just one of the main ones, but there are a lot of other ones that we can perhaps bring to the table. So maybe we can do a resource session or a training session for those counselors, to have a resource bank, or, all of us together on this call can perhaps send in some information that we can provide scholarship thought processes, some resources to those persons that are coming in that may or may not have that money to come into to JMU. And so if we can, provide those resources, send that out there to those persons that do not know where to source, that could be a helpful piece in this initiative to bring more people, because of, if it's financial, then we will be able to send those and have those resources available for them. Knowledge is power, knowledge is key. And I think if we do this ripple effect across the board, if we have the nucleus here, and bring that out to those high school areas that are bringing those Black and brown students to our campus, that could be a positive. I'm thinking so fast, I can't even think of the words. That could be something positive that we can bring to the table for those coming to JMU, especially for those people who are thinking about, as far as financial being the obstacle in their way to coming to school. $20,000. When I came to JMU, I think it was like, what people who came with me, like $6,000 for the entire year. So, I mean, that was big money back in the day. But let me tell you, I had the Kiwanis Scholarship, I had the Rotary Club Scholarship, I had the Delta Scholarship, I had the AKA Scholarship, I had every scholarship available because I was hungry. So if we can help those people that are out there, that'll be a piece that we can perhaps bring to the table.
And before we jump in real quick with the next question, I do want to just respond to you, Bettina.
Thank you.
We do offer Counselor Day in both the spring and well, definitely in the spring, around spring break time-ish. And we get well over 100 or more counselors. They do come back. They actually, in that day, they actually go through a mock application review exercise that we do. And even most recently in the fall, the deans of the directors of some state of a handful of institutions. So it included JMU, Virginia Tech, William and Mary, and University of Richmond. And what they did was they spoke to the council. We invited counselors to different regions. They traveled just like President Alger did when he came aboard, just like the new coaches do with athletics. They traveled to the major areas of the state, bringing forth highlights of their programs and responding to these counselors with regards to what we were doing due to the recent affirmative action ruling. So we're doing those things. We also have a counselors network they get messages once a month in a newsletter of everything that is happening as we're going through our process of recruitment and the cycle of application review and admittance. So the counselors are getting the information.
Okay, excellent. Thank you, Monette. I appreciate that because we didn't know that. I didn't know that on this side of the table, but I appreciate that and thank you for what you're doing.
I think Ramon has had his hand up for quite some time.
Hey, thanks, John. Hey, Monette. I just had a question. Looking at the data that you've shown over the last 10 years, and the efforts that JMU has put around commitment over this time period, increasing acceptance of students, and still seeing the numbers relatively flat over this time. Just curious about, can you speak to like how JMU is feeling about the kind of the ROI of this commitment over time? You know, increasing these resources, staying committed, but not seeing any changes in like what we're defining as matriculation or people actually coming to JMU. Is there fatigue? Is there frustration? Or do you think the university is still committed to trying to get these numbers up, regardless of what they have been seeing over such a long period of time?
That's a very good question, Ramon. And I'm sorry, Emmanuel, but they're not getting tired. We're not getting tired. I think there is a sense of, okay, we have to sit back and kind of reevaluate things to figure out where do we move next. Like, for example, you know, the most recent affirmative actions ruling, nothing really majorly changed with how I read applications or my staff or colleagues do. The only difference is I no longer can see the ethnicity code or, you know, what the student checked. Now we sit in a fortunate place because, you know, and I just kind of have to say, especially for my role, I sit in a region that has been identified as having larger percentages of students of color in them. And, you know, they can't change that. Like, they can't change, my regions can change, but we can't change the demographics of those regions. So as the university will stay committed to that. Like, I really hope and I pray that they do, because this is 20 years worth of building to get to this point. And you know, the university recognizes where this gap is, and they need our help. I need your help. I'll be honest. You know, I have a very close colleague here on the line, and you know, we talk every day and we share the same applicant pool. But the fact of the matter is, her university gets way more money than we do from the state because they've been going after it for a long time and have been able to prove that by getting those funds, they are making an impact with bringing students of color to their campus.
I do have a question, Monette, because we mentioned finance being an issue. We mentioned applications and things like that. I'll say from my personal perspective at JMU, the biggest challenge for me was staying at JMU, specifically the academic piece. I was a science major, I'm happy to say it, and I had a really hard time in my major, specifically with a lot of microaggressions and not so microaggressions in terms of being a Black person in STEM, right? And I know a lot of my fellow Dukes had similar experiences in my years as well. Is there a way that we can connect and work together to make sure our students are academically supported and encouraged to do what they want to do as they try to matriculate through the school?
I might toss this one over to Art, if you don't mind, Art. or actually, I didn't see you. I'm sorry, Dr. Carter Hoyt. If you wouldn't mind, because I don't want to spill too much of, because we're sitting on, when she talked about STEM, I know you can address that as well.
All right, I'll defer to you first, and then I'll take some of the piece of the conversation here. Hi, everyone.
You're on.
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Okay. So good evening, everyone. Glad to be here. Great questions, great conversations, great information that's being shared. I'm going to, because there are lots of things that you all shared and just asking. I think, Ramon, you asked a great question where we are. I think Dr. Carter Hoyt, I'm gonna pass it back to you to answer some of those things on some of the issues in terms of information, data questions I see you all asking. There's a data set link. I know I forwarded it to President Mitchell, to John, so he has a copy of that. And so on that data, you can see the metrics in terms of graduation, recruitment. The one other piece I want to really help Mayette and make sure you all understand, she's showing you data for the Black student enrollment. Recognize that about 2/5 of our multiracial students are Black and something else. And so identifies Black and Hispanic, or Black and white, or Black and Asian. And so that's why, and so the numbers you look at and where they are, you might see, okay, we have 1,000 Black students, which does put us back in 1989, 1988 in that perspective, but also recognize that there's the blending of the multiracial population that's also here as well. So we'll be glad to answer, glad to share the other initiatives taking place. But as you can hear from Mayette, it's a lot of lifting, a lot of heavy work taking place in that process. And so I'm going to hand it over to Dr. Carter Hoyt, who's the inaugural Vice President for Diversity, Equity, Inclusion and Chief Diversity Officer. And I think her title and presence alone talks about the commitment going forward, right?
That is true. Art, thank you. Lynette, thank you so much. I have so much to share with you, but I'll curtail my comments and then start sharing some things in the chat feature. One, STEM. We have applied for a Louis Stokes Minority Participation grant through the National Science Foundation. It would be, let's see, over 5 years, it would be maybe 5 million. And so it's lots of partners. It's an alliance model. So we've entered into that alliance with Mary Baldwin University, our local community college, several, in order to make that happen. That's one. I also wanted to share, if you have any questions for me, or if you would like to get to know me, by the way, the reason why I like that I've applied for that Louis Stokes Alliance Minority Participation Program is because I was born and raised in Cleveland, Ohio, and my ancestors, due to the Great Migration, I spent a lot of my summers in Mississippi and Arkansas, where my folks are from. And so a little bit country, a little bit rock and roll. And you'll see that when you watch my video. I also wanted to make sure that I shared with you that there are so many ways to get at what you are talking about, engagement, empowerment, and endowment. And I wanted to share with you just one thing that I'm hoping that I could work with you all. And I think it was Bettina who spoke to this, and also Jamie as well said something in the chat about challenging us to think beyond utilizing school counselors because they are overwhelmed. And I'm really hoping that what you can see that I put in the chat feature is indeed you can open it. If you can't, let me know. Something that I used in the past that has worked well for me is then my digital briefcase. If you can't open that, I'll explain it to you yet. And so what that is a way to have people report in resources, and then those resources come out on a periodic schedule. And so that means that our community is always updated. So if you're willing to work with me on that, that would be something I would be delighted to add, because not only would I like to do that internally for current students, but I also like to do that in sharing resources among our community. Because as we know, we have, and that's why one of the reasons why it's attractive to be an alumni in the alumni family, because you gain so much just by affiliation. And so we want to make sure that we're supporting individuals in that way as well. Many of you have probably heard, if you haven't heard, the 20th will be her homegoing. You probably have heard about Sister Antoinette Bonnie, Candia Bailey, who has passed away. She passed away, and she was working as a Black woman doing the work of higher education. And you see, you might have heard about the president, another Black woman who dropped dead doing her work. So it behooves us to make sure that we're not only serving at this level, but we're also making sure that we're serving one another. So let's not forget about that, because we are important to us, our health, our well-being. So much to say based on what you shared, but I'll share this. The Chronicle of Higher Education, they recently had been doing a poll about the value of higher education. I'm hearing we're talking about money, right? And this value of higher education that they were talking about, they were asking the question, wherein does the public see the role of higher education? And you will see that many believe that the effectiveness of it is eroding. But yet, when they did this survey, by the way, putting it in the chat feature, when they did this survey of various different adults, even though some people had a bad experience, they still said, it was over 70 people who still said, you know what, a college degree is worth it. And so it's important. And from what you all have shared here, it is still worth it. So if we do believe that it is worth it, please, let's make sure that we are adhering to the mentorship, the donation, the committees and positions, the connection with local alumni, the admissions and recruitment and partnership. So much to share. So much more, especially since the conversation has been very healthy. But if you want to talk more, please do email me. I have so much more to share with you. But in the interest of time, I'll mute myself.
So in the interest of time, I see the other questions. If you all can put them in the chat or comments, put them in the chat. We'll circle back. And this is a great conversation, BAC. I knew y'all have a lot to say, so we're excited. We're gonna pass it back to Manette so she can finish her slides.
Thank you. Can you go back one more slide, Janea? I'm sorry. Okay, I do want to speak to this. The next one. Okay. No, go forward to the admissions RV recruitment volunteers. I wanted to speak to this because the admissions office for years has had what we call the ARVs. And I do see several alum that have helped in the past with these efforts. And there was a discussion, I believe, someone spoke about I think it was Francis. So the program that the BAC is looking to launch with regards to the Regional Ambassadors Program, it already exists. The infrastructure already exists through the admissions office, and that is through the admissions ARVs. We have a pool of a number of alum who, when we have fairs, like for example, tomorrow or Saturday, I've been asked to be at the Virginia State for Freedom Classic. So I'll be on Saturday for 5 hours at Virginia State representing JMU. But last week I had a conflict. So last weekend they canceled it and rescheduled it for this week. So I was going to send my daughter and her roommate that graduated from JMU. But that's because that's the organic pool I have. So what I want to challenge the BAC with is, instead of recreating that, to join the ARV. And there'll be some slides that will show how the ARV works. And so we'll talk about that. So next slide, please.
And Monia, just if you don't mind, because what I want to be clear about what I said that where possible that we could assist. There's no way. I mean, we have no intentions of trying to recreate something. So just like you couldn't go to your event if there was somebody as a local ambassador, what we want to do is to make sure you have those names and you could reach out to me. You could call me here in Charlotte, North Carolina, if you can't be in this area. So we're not in any way trying to recreate anything, but we want to support your program.
Okay, that's good. Thank you. And we can definitely talk offline, because I do know that this is something that Melinda does want to see more of us be involved in. So we'll definitely talk about that later. as far as some of the challenges, these are things that we do know. We know that in certain parts of the state, we are challenged by our location. In the 757, or you get to Richmond, maybe to Williamsburg. We get lucky if we get Williamsburg, but beyond or farther east, it becomes more of a challenge due to distance. And this is even to be able to expose the students. You know, they have to leave at like 5 in the morning to take a 4-hour drive on a bus, and the bus has to be a Norfolk approved bus. It can't be a JMU bus, because we, for years, were taking a JMU bus down, picking up the kids, bringing them back to campus, and getting them back to the Tidewater area. That's a full day. So location is an issue. Awareness and exposure. We've mentioned funding as far as scholarships. Also, just the lack of Black alum coming back and engaging with the university, being present with our prospective students, marketing materials, promotions, putting things on your car, talking about us in your community and in your churches. And even as a part of this program, I have the vision of, you know, if I could call on the ambassadors, because I have a request in a region from a church, because it's not just happening in the schools. We have a lot of, as well, what we call community-based organizations, or CBOs, that are working with students that we have formed partnerships with. One of those such programs is called Partnership for the Future. We've been very fortunate to be able to have a partnership with them at a level, we're not at their top level, because there is a financial commitment that has to be made. But they have produced and actually sent us, probably over the 20 years, probably close to about 300 students from their program. So those types of partnerships really do work. And next slide, I think it just talks about more about the ARV program and what the mission is. The ARV is Admissions Recruitment Volunteers. They are alumni and parents who serve to help the Office of Admissions by attending college fairs and assisting in recruitment opportunities for students to the university. And the vision is to, of course, to strive to maintain a global network of enthusiastic and knowledgeable volunteers to assist the Office of Admissions in our recruitment efforts. And the way this works is you get involved in the network, you say, hey, I want to be a volunteer. Whenever we have an event in your area and we need your assistance, we send out packets. So, and the coordinator that handles this in the office will have a conversation if you haven't done it before, just to kind of answer any questions. But that is pretty much how the admissions recruitment program, volunteer program works. It's very low maintenance. I know that Gina and Wilson have definitely volunteered. I don't want to get into calling everyone's names, but you know, Ramon has helped. But these are some people that I knew that I could call on. It wasn't necessarily that they were in the admissions in the ARV database. So then the next slide or two, I think it's the next one or after this. So currently we have 450 volunteers. About 200 of them are active each year. We do have JMU alum and parents counselor members that just sort of automatically get connected to the ARV. Most recently, in the last 2 years, 155 college fairs. We've had at least 155 of them do college fairs just on their own in their particular region or where they're located. We've had 109 college fairs in which we have had, they've been connected with one of our admissions counselors in the office. We have fairs such as in Northern Virginia, where we have to have 3 admissions tables And, you know, we can't stretch our office that much with regards to everybody being on the road at the same time. So this is where the ARVs come in, and they really come and they save us. They really do, because they're able to talk. I actually have one couple that their son or grandson did not go to JMU. They went to another institution, but they have served on the Parents Council, and they go to every fair we ask them to go to. So they are a very integral part of our recruitment efforts. And again, responsibilities representing us at college fairs, answering general questions about JMU. Again, we provide the information. As that information gets updated or changes, and then they're great with just sharing their overall Madison experience, whether they're a parent, a grandparent, or a past student, or currently have a student at the university. And next slide. And
Okay,
this is just
I'm gonna have to actually stop at this point because our Zoom session will end in approximately 3 minutes. We want to appreciate everybody that has come on. We appreciate the Office of Admissions. We appreciate the Office of Alumni Affairs. We appreciate the Office of DEI. We especially appreciate the alumni body that has joined us. As you can see and as you have heard, there is a lot of work for us to do. Please make sure that anybody who registered, you are now added to our listserv. You will be receiving emails, you'll be receiving the newsletters and everything else. If you know other people, I've seen people texting the question. If they are not receiving it, it means they have not been registered in the listserv. Please have them register with the Office of Alumni Affairs. If they register for a Black Alumni event, one of our regional events, they will be invited. If they register for anything with the Black Alumni Association, they'll be added to the listserv. We really need people, again, as you have seen, to participate with the regional office. We need people to help us with the foundation, people who can help some of these regional meetings as far as raising the money for the endowment and everything else that you have heard listed this evening. So again, this has been the first part of our engagement. This has been the largest meeting we have had in the past 3 years. So we thank everyone who came to this meeting. But let me give special thanks to Janae, who set up the link, who set up the slides, and who put all of this together. So everybody, please thank Janae for what she did for this evening. So at this, I'm sorry.
Sorry, it's just me.
Okay. And so again, at this time, we just want to thank everybody who participated. We will try and address all the questions that we have seen in the chat. If you have any other questions or anything for us, please email the BAC link, and please look at all the links that have been provided from the Office of Alumni Affairs and DEI that are also located in the chat.
Before we end the meeting, thank you, everybody. Again, I appreciate all the love in the chat. Keep bringing people to the meeting. Hopefully our goal is to expand it so we can have more than 100 people. Next time the goal is to stream it on YouTube for those who can't join. Please, please, please complete this link I'm putting in the chat. And it's the survey, just a member survey. It will tell us how your experience has been thus far. We hope to bring back a lot of these speakers that you've heard and keep addressing all you guys' needs. We need to hear from you. We need you to volunteer. We need you to do some things with us. So please, it's time to get activated. Homecoming 2024 is going to be lit, but you can't enjoy it unless you put in some work first. So please join us. We love to see you all. And if you know anyone, because I know somebody who didn't come or isn't super engaged with BAC, tell them it's for them. If you're Black and you went to JMU, if you're Black and your kids went to JMU, or your grandkids or whomever, you are JMU BAC. So please join us, buy the merch, and everything's going to go out in email as well as the recording.
Don't forget the ODU JMU challenge with the basketball. Don't forget Giving Day will be the next activity, and we will look at the survey, and we will be designing other events and activities for empowerment and engagement and other Zoom calls. And again, we will be revisiting these topics as well too. So we appreciate everyone who came on tonight, and we're just going to say thank you. Don't forget engagement, empowerment, and the endowment. We appreciate all of you who came on this evening.